We moved. So, yeah. It was popping up out of
Oh, so
and I stayed here on the side of the house. North side of the house.
I'll show you that. Only about 37.
Okay, I think we're all ready for you.
He wants me to not this.
He could also nobody.
Understanding it.
Yeah.
It should be.
You are very good. You had a hat on it all the way. I wish I always had somebody that knew their IT.
Yeah, but
That helps, but,
That's right.
but we've been doing Zoom meetings since, really January of 2020.
Oh my God.
I know, we all have ideas, but still, there's still.
Oh my God, you're a
moments
baby.
when,
Yeah.
you know, it just.
Yeah.
You got room to talk.
Okay, so wait a second.
She's 3 years younger than me.
And you say, what are you, 68?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we're all, whenever, whatever you put up, we'll be going.
You have an avocado bit?
Always good, you know.
I think January is nice.
Yeah, well, but we don't ask for your opinion.
I know.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what you guys do.
Let's see, Veronica, are you gonna sit when you talk, or you want to? Okay, then I'll use this will be the main camera.
Multiple cameras.
Yeah.
Oh, this one here.
I have one on mine. If you're gonna sit, we'd turn yours on, but if not, we'll just, huh? I don't want to throw you off.
My eyes aren't so good. I can do this better.
And it's like, so I I'm not happy with where I'm at. I'll make it.
I remember that. My shoe got stuck right down in the right off my foot.
You know, I have my station right from the door. I don't want to.
Yeah, but that was dangerous to me. Yeah, it was slippery.
Yeah. But like with the demonstration on it.
Is that real? No.
No.
Yeah, I mean, those are different specializations.
Yeah, that's the word I. Yeah. They got
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I will do that. Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Patty.
Jerry, how you doing? Like the snow?
Sounds good.
You gotta be kidding.
She did it on actually on the website.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you're already paid off.
I have one on my flavor every day. But it's nice to know.
Yeah, it's really-
Yeah, I think about you every time I go by your house. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Oh, the backyard, look at all the plants.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, the backyard, look at that part of the plants back there.
Are you coming up?
The irises are, the irises. Nothing else that I mean, I'm just cold.
Patty, did you
Yeah.
get a spot to have it?
Let's say I am.
You want to sign yours
I was throwing a stick.
for Judy, for like last time,
She was like, throw the stick, throw the stick.
just to be outside, yeah.
It was so nice. Yeah.
We sat out like 2 hours.
Yeah,
One-
so next week's supposed to be nice too. Yeah, I was getting told that because I have to, you know.
So how was that?
All
Yeah.
right, well, we'll have, get everybody here.
She's taking up collection.
And the matches are out.
I know.
Is that you?
He's gonna walk around and have their dollars there. Hey, you know.
Dollars for what? What did I miss there?
Well, there you go, you know.
Yes, ma'am, we got it.
I don't know why they're not like
Oh.
dirty, I'm never going again.
Oh, no.
Every time I, next time I go, and I say, yeah, you want to go?
Sign the card for
Oh, cheap.
Pretty dirty.
It's the,
Oh, my God.
going card. It's to
Baby.
Hiring.
Good thing I have four.
Yeah.
No.
Something.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's your choice. I'm so over it.
They're, you know, they're in the car.
Oh, yeah.
They have them, but-
I have a couple of my first. I have Yeah. Okay.
I did two. One back.
Okay.
One-
Yeah.
The reception. Had a mask on. The sunflower, doesn't it? No, you can't wear that here. Here, you have to wear this and use this. Just this picture or. No, you have to use that.
I walked into my work and I get to him and she goes, it's up to you. She goes, if I'm.
I don't know
if
what's
they
on
wear
there.
it or not, don't worry.
But
about it.
somewhere around
Sign
that,
says
then that would be-
everybody, they're employees,
Right.
they're
And I have no problem.
I don't either.
went to the hospital yesterday and got the gate, that woman's- and we had to have.
Oh, yeah.
She's the official kid.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Oh my.
So here's my new baby, well, one of my new babies. It's a chocolate. She's 2 months old. She was born on Christmas.
Oh, the kids.
No, so.
Oh, so, oh, I had 2 new kittens too.
Oh, you did get them?
I did.
No, that's really nice. Not having to-
So yes, I'm so happy. I am.
Now you know.
I know, they're, I'm just, oh,
She
here.
lives in a daffodil.
I showed you the kids.
Yeah.
I have a baby.
That way, that's.
Spills yourself.
Really sad out. The word.
You know, you can never find something when you want it.
But I want, yeah, but I want, I asked Dave if I could show with him.
These are the 2 new babies I got. Well, the gray one is supposed to be my grandson's, but I got them both. I got both girls, so I have 3 girls. Well, I have 5 girls and 3 boys. I'm so glad that.
Oh my goodness. So this is him in the bed. But I can't, he's a gorgeous cat.
Yeah, because I didn't see the picture.
And he.
Well, I did with your grandson at the shelter,
Right.
you know.
But I, there was one he's laying. I said, can I show this?
Oh, I'm so glad.
Oh.
He's so happy about it.
And for him, it really is a, what do you call it? Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, I can't.
And he is,
It's like no, that's not the word. I know exactly.
so anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, animals make a big difference, so I'm so glad.
Yeah, I was just,
I'm so.
Well, they.
Oh, like that's your giant. I'm taking, I'm like, you gotta make it. They just-
that was,
so-
you know, so maybe we weren't supposed to get.
Sometimes you have really busy days.
Tangent. I like the thing.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
one is
annoying if
just.
you're trying to get in there this way. It's like, oh, you know,
Catch it. But now it's called bowling.
Oh, excuse me.
That's the call, yes, I think.
I just told him to send me a picture. The way my son's house is, his bed, my grandson's bedroom on the first floor in the front.
Okay.
And he's got sort of wicker blinds.
Okay.
But there's one spot in the back. So Molly can.
Oh my God.
Okay, this is the picture that was out on our website, you saw that, right?
No,
We love you.
I didn't see that one. I saw the one with.
Good idea.
Oh, did you see it?
Good.
And it's got long.
Excellent.
Well, yeah.
They're not real long.
Short.
Well, I saw the picture.
But I showed him some of you.
And I, he had sent me.
It's so cute.
But I didn't-
Sorry.
I just make it here.
Right.
Yeah.
I just stuck it. That's why.
And so I started thinking about it. The whole bedroom across my grandson. He said, "This is my bed. I get it for permanent
How's things? Excellent. Good to hear. The whole thing is just so bizarre. I don't know what he was thinking, but it didn't make sense. We have a real problems that make no sense.
When you go to the dentist,
The trailer. Oh, and me too.
People bigger than mine.
Yeah.
Great idea. Love that.
And the teacher, I know. This is gonna be good. I'm gonna have it already.
Sarah, now that I see you, I realize I forgot those sunflowers.
Oh, that's okay.
And they're. They got, we had approval for their schedule.
And he comes tonight tomorrow.
Good.
And I mean, they all just have to say
Everything, yeah.
And I said, oh, they wanted to be in town. And I'm like, well, they go, we can do it Wednesday. I said, yeah. Use that word. And I said, well, what about, well, the head's on our, I said, oh, you can do 11:30, but if you're not there, then we'll just. Put it back up on the, you know.
Yeah, but-
Website. And so I come back to my mom and the five days, and he had 5 dollars. And it was just, and it was like. We can't have him decide that, you know.
I mean, you're gonna make it better.
Not my problem. You want me to, my husband works 50 hours. You want us to be there. I didn't know. And they said, my son would be there. Oh, no, we don't. do such things. So we knew that. Oh, my gosh. was, oh my God.
We'll make sure we don't go there.
Don't go there. The one I just got, I got two baby kittens and a new puppy. Within the last 2 weeks. It was the one I got my kittens from was.
Oh my gosh, that's, yeah.
St. Sophia.
Oh.
Feline. Some feline rescue. Yeah.
Hi there. Did you do
I can try.
And some cupcake pan, we used to have stuff to take home. I was thinking of, what you call it, April and a few others. I don't know. I thought it was like Mary Ann, Bill.
I think we're just about ready to start.
Okay.
I would see when he's in school. See, probably sleeping on his bed looking for him.
Everybody was anxiety.
We're gonna start. Okay,
Ready?
Dan?
Good evening, everyone. This is Miss Veronica Porter. She is called Ask and Be, and she gave me a little blurb here to read to you guys. Veronica Porter was born and raised in Naperville when it was still considered a small farm town. She caught the end of an era when you grew, gathered, and prepared your own food. It was a time that you learned from your elders, explored with your friends, and followed in the footprints of time-worn traditions. Veronica brings these values to modern times and shares her experiences by educating and strategizing for healthy, organic, heirloom gardening, farm-to-table food integrity, cooking, preservation, and living life in a responsible, regenerative manner. She's a third-generation organic farmer, chef, culinary instructor, and food educator for home and garden. Veronica is a licensed chef and holds a master's of organic urban farming and gardening. Welcome.
Do we have
Oh, yes, I'm
you
sure.
have your microphone on?
This one seems to be, I wasn't sure how to turn it off since I had the thing.
Hey, wait,
on.
let me turn mine off.
I'm unmuted. But
I'm hearing feedback on it.
All right.
I know, but I
Thank you.
think it's just because, I don't know what it is, but I am unmuted, I checked that.
Is there a street named after you?
And this area, because half of my cousins live in Lamont, so my whole life is going through. Unless it bothers everybody else.
No, it's not that loud.
I don't. Yeah.
Is it,
I
do
don't
you
know
think
if I
it's
can just
carrying
I think
into
if I can
the
just get my
recording?
volume up, I just would turn it down,
Okay, yeah, if you turn your volume down a little bit, that may,
but I don't know how to get to it, because
Okay.
I've got this up.
I know how to do that.
Good.
I'll let you start on this. Oh, coming out of here. Coming out of, are you hooked into that one too?
No,
Should be happy to get it.
that was doing it before.
It's about organic gardening.
Hi, Mary Ann. Wait, go ahead and mute yourself.
Hello. Okay. Rocky, get down.
This is off now, so we're fine.
I think we're good.
And Mary Ann's figuring out how to mute
I'm
herself.
gonna mute
I'm
her.
trying to. Mute.
It's okay, Rod will help.
Oh, there you go. You're good.
Okay.
Okay, I do have a PowerPoint, you can tell. I really just wanted it to be, for the pictures on the screen, so you didn't have to just listen to me, but it's not really a PowerPoint where we have, that the talk goes directly with it. It's just really the background. But some of the things are pertinent to what I'm talking about. I'm still getting feedback, but that's okay. We'll just go with it. All right, so I was asked here to come to talk about organic gardening and the benefits of it. And when I say I'm a third generation organic farmer, that seems a little odd to a lot of people. My grandfather did have a farm in Naperville, and by today's standards, it would be considered an organic farm. Back then, it was just the way you did things. And now he would be considered a specialty crop grower. Back then, it was called a truck crop. So basically, he always grew small quantities. He just believed very much. So, do you want us to move that, or maybe I could move so you can see me better?
You okay?
Oh, you're okay? Oh, okay. So anyway, so I was raised on organic food. I was raised with, my parents knew what the animals that we had, that we used in our lives, but they ate. My father was just very, very constant. He was a biochemist. My mother was a nutritionist, even though she never actually pursued it because she had 6 children, but we were her little laboratory, I guess. But anyway, so it was a very, like I said, that's how it is. That's just how you grow up, right? And then what happens is you go out into the real world. In my case, I went to college and started eating dorm food, and didn't even know what it was. I mean, just became very, very ill. So anyway, the reason I have such a passion for it is because there's just so much that goes with organic. The term organic itself is, and it is, I'm just trying to see. I apologize, we thought we had this down. Why isn't it working that? Oh, there we go. It's like I said, these are good. My motto is from the garden to the table, from the classroom to the community. I just feel it's very important that there's so many different reasons why you want to grow things organically, but that's personally my own.
Can't hear her.
Surroundings or their behaviors. They're not given antibiotics, growth hormones, or any animal byproducts. So those are all things that I'm sure just kind of sound good, the natural way of doing things. Okay. Organic is also has so many other benefits for you personally. Okay. First of all, again, it's a buzzword. I know a lot of people use it now, but it means that it has a major impact on your health, your mental health, and your emotional health, as well as on the environment. And when we go through, as we go through this, they'll all kind of connect, but it is more beneficial in nutrients, such as antioxidants. It has a lot of people who have allergies to food, or the chemicals or preservatives, they find that they can eat certain things and it doesn't bother them quite as much. So there's all sorts of beneficial elements. But organic food could contain less pesticides. I don't think anybody who is completely honest would say that they're completely pesticide free, just because, not because you don't apply it, but just in the environment itself. Unfortunately, there might be some that gets absorbed. It's just the natural, unfortunate situation of our environment right now. But the one thing I want to say is I'm very much an organic proponent. And again, that is the nature of how it is grown. But I always like to bring up at this point, just to be an awareness, is the type of seeds that are grown. And there's basically 4 different, first of all, there's the organic, which means if you buy organic seeds, it means that there has not been any chemicals used on it for the last 2 generations. Okay, so that means, generation grew a cycle and there were no, so that means 2 cycles. But the one to me that's most important really is the heirloom. Heirloom and open pollinator, but heirloom is really my one that I feel is most important, and I think a lot of people aren't aware of. Heirloom means it has never been modified. It means it is consistent from generation to generation. Okay, so that means many of your our ancestors, many of your ancestors, I'm sure too, statistics show that most people that came to the United States, one thing that they all brought was seeds. Okay, they brought seeds because it was familiar to them and they knew when they got here, they could at least grow something. Okay, so that means if you take the number of people that came from the number of places, just even for just think about it. There's somebody from Russia, somebody from every single continent, but Antarctica obviously is in some manner brought some seeds and they started growing them and they passed them to generation to generation. They had there's no modification. And then about the turn of the 1900s, they started to just kind of just filter them down. Just kind of started to try to get the seed manufacturers started to try to create, just streamline them, so to speak. So that when I saw a seed catalog from, I think it was 1913, and you looked at it and it looked like the old yellow pages. Okay, remember how thick those yellow pages were? And every line was a different person's number, right? Well, that was that size, and every single line had a different type of seed. You looked up cauliflower, and it was 13. That's just the one I remember doing. So I looked up cauliflower, and it was 13 pages of different varieties of cauliflower. Can you imagine? And the thing about it is that by growing these different varieties, growing the different types of, there was different flavor profiles, there's all kinds of different things. So there's, just the fact that now you go to right now, if you go to the store and you get tomatoes, I'm not talking about the grocery store, but going to a growing center to get tomatoes, you might get 5, maybe 10 varieties. I don't know. I don't go to them myself. I haven't been to go. I've always grown my own. But when I have passed, and just kind of out of curiosity looked, there's very limited. And when you consider that there are probably currently about 1,000 different varieties available. And that's unfortunately already been completely reduced. But anyway, these are the types of things that, so that's why heirloom is so important. The other reason heirloom is so important is because because they haven't been modified. When they're grown, they have all of the nutritional elements that your body needs. Okay, so we'll get into that, I guess, a little bit more. I know we want to keep moving along, but the other one is open pollinated, which I also feel is completely, I do grow open pollinated. Basically, open pollinated by that category, it means that they haven't had any kind of modifications. And it's kind of like a white flower and a red flower cross pollinate, they get a pink flower. That's really about the difference of it. So it's really, I try to stay away from it, but I do, I'm fine with that. When you get to the last one, hybrid, no surprise, I avoid it like the plague. I'm sure I've eaten plenty of hybrid foods, but I avoid it like the plague. I'm from growing them. I absolutely do not grow them because hybrid means that they've been altered. That means that they've made some modifications. Not all of them are bad. Not every hybrid situation is bad, but it's not consistent from generation to generation. A lot of times they'll graft a tomato plant onto a pepper plant because the pepper stock is better. And they'll just do things that they, to prevent certain diseases and maybe, just make some changes and things like that. But and that's a decision that you can make. Mine is, as I've clearly said, is I stay away from them. But I don't like to use hybrid plants because going back to what I said about heirloom is that all the nutritional elements of them, my body will recognize. In hybrid, sometimes some of the modifications they make, your body won't recognize. They might grow a great big tomato, but your body's like, what is this? You don't know it because of some of the modifications. And again, because they don't clarify that, I just stay away from it. Any questions about that? Okay, it's like I said, it's very important. So for me, I really stick to heirloom and open pollinated. So again, those are the types of seeds we use, and then I use the organic principles. All right, so with that being said, organic, again, when I say organic, I'm also saying heirloom, open pollinated. They are far more nutritional for you. They do studies every year, about 41 to 50 different studies across the country of different varieties of potatoes, spinach, carrots, tomatoes. They and test the different types of nutrients in them. Excuse me, the vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and micronutrients. And usually they come up. It varies by different, but for vitamin C, it's about 27% more vitamin C in your organic, 29% more magnesium, 21% more iron, more phosphorus, and we could go on and on. So you're getting a lot better nutrient content. It's better taste than, than things that I buy at the store or that are conventionally grown. Granted, you pick something in your garden and come out and eat it, it's always going to taste better. But if you would explore a little bit about doing it without some of the chemicals and some of the fertilizers and things that are in there, that you are going to find that the taste profile is extremely more. It's just it's better. That's all I can say. You take the fact that it tastes better and it's better for you. That in itself is enough for, excuse me, but is that you, I'm sorry, I've got this little tickle in my throat. It is often fresher and it tends to be better for the environment. So going back to all those different types of things. And reduces pollution and protects water and the soil. And then it also provides for agriculture diversity, which I talked about with the 1900.com catalog from the 1900s. Is that you just have a wide variety. There's a lot of organizations throughout the country, throughout the world that are doing seed saving. That they're trying to get, the seeds and preserving them. So there's a lot of people that are doing it with the I didn't think this would bother me, but it is. I should maybe move over here. Is
actually you want to pause for just a second because if you want this is feedback. Let's try one thing.
Did you actually pull up my speaker?
I'm going to turn that back.
Just turn it off.
Or mute.
Yeah. It's not the Zoom. It's actually my computer, I think.
Yeah.
So we would probably have to reduce it down.
Nothing like listening to yourself.
Oh, and it's bouncing back afterwards.
Yeah.
A
little delay.
So it's kind of just throwing me off.
Tell you what, why don't you go over by my station and I'll run your slides. How's that? See if that works.
But I can still hear you then. Can you call it up?
I don't know how to get it with your mouse. How to get back to you.
Oh, here's one. You can't do it. Just because I don't have a specific, I have some that are, okay. I'll go over there.
See if that helps.
But you want to go back up?
Yeah, let me turn here off.
You're booby trapping.
I know, but I also probably just photo bombed something. You're okay. All right, now I feel a little, now I can, I think look at the.
Now you see one of your stuff is gone for the moment.
Yeah.
Hold on.
We'll take a breather. Hello.
Take a
Marianne.
breather.
Hello,
Does anybody have
Marianne.
any questions about anything that I said? I realize it's kind of like I said, I apologize. It was just this it's like being in an echo chamber.
You're about a second off.
I know,
I think we got it. So why don't you come on back?
Oh, you think I?
I think you might have it.
I took your
Laptop?
laptop speaker off.
See, that's what I think it was. We think that's what it was.
Okay, so that's your
I'm gonna go up to do the presentation. You might have to.
is it
scroll down.
PowerPoint. This one.
Yeah, it looks like it's curious.
I'm looking if I can find the power button.
All right.
All right, thank you very, very much. And I apologize to everybody for the, especially to those of you online. Now, will it go, can I use this?
Does everybody online hear her okay?
The online YouTube stream is fine.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Okay.
And I don't hear myself?
No.
Yay!
You sometimes think I can't hear myself think, but that was I don't want to hear myself. But anyway, thank you, and thank you, Brad. It was just distracting enough that I kind of couldn't keep on track. So anyway, going over what I was talking about, the importance of heirloom, open pollinator, and then the seed. And the reason for it, that like I said, I don't mean to be like the seed police or anything like that, but it's just, you know, you take so much time to grow your own food. Try, you know, to grow varieties that are the most nutritious for you and the tastiest, just as, you know, I just want to make you aware that does make a difference. So when you're selecting your seeds, do look for those things. They really do matter. The other thing is that is supporting, you know, family directly. A lot of times, and I don't think this is as true as it used to be, but a lot of times when you're buying organic foods at some of the local markets, you actually are growing from someplace that's closer by. And I think we're going to see an increase in that in years to come. We'll see just basically over the last years with the supply chain that's going on now, with the some of the different information that's coming across the way. It may change, I don't know. And the other thing is, which is already said, because all of us have already been affected by some of it, is, you know, really for our children, really for the future, does make a difference, because again, if, you know, we at least, you know, and especially with you, if you're interested in gardening, there's multiple different ways of, you know, what you grow. But if we just continue to grow them, then we're not going to continue, we're going to not have seeds, and then eventually there will be only one or two varieties of different things. So it's really just makes sense. And it also keeps for a healthier, stronger food system. So, and I'm not trying to be political or anything like that. I'm just saying that just if you think about it, it really does make sense. And it's very, very vital too to the premise of when you are gardening or farming organically, is that there's 3 C's, and one of them is compost, one of them is crop rotation, and the third one is crop cover. The crop rotation is very, very essential, because when you're growing something, you cannot grow it in the same place every year. If you've got the ideal place for tomatoes, it surely should be just for one season. If you grow the tomatoes in the same place, in the same manner every single year, but you're depleting the soil. What you do, the goal each of us should have is that you feed your soil feeds your roots, and your roots grow your plant and create the fruit. If you are not feeding the soil, and if the soil does not have the necessary nutrients, then it's not going to be able to produce a healthy, nutritional and taste profile of your fruit. So with that being said, so what you want to do is you constantly want to be rotating it. So the 7 years is the ideal. We can't always do that, but at least every 4 years that you're growing something in a different type too. And so that means, like, let's just say that you grow tomatoes one year, next year you might grow a vitamin C rich plant that the roots are going to invigorate the soil, your nitrogen rich, your phosphorus, and things like that, that they're constantly being regenerated, because then that means that what you plant there the next year is going to benefit from those nutrients. So that's kind of the constant that you always want to be going to. And then we really weren't talking about animals much, but I do like to just say that, again, animals are organic from animals, organic ingredients from animals or produce, it doesn't have any antibiotics, growth hormones, or any thing that's harmful to you. You also have to be careful, like now when you go get eggs a lot, there's like, you almost need a dictionary, whether it's farm raised or cage raised, but obviously their benefits. The thing is that the standard by the USDA basically is that cage free is good, but it doesn't mean they ever see outside. And so you want to get a pasture if you want one that is going to have the most diversity. The other thing is never buy an egg that says it's an organic egg. Okay, you do have organic. There is organic, but or no. Organic, yes. Vegetarian. I mean, they do grow with organic feed, but to say that a chicken has never eaten a bug, which is what they are supposed to do, is just not possible. But, organic, yes. I'm sorry, I got my word wrong. Please apologize for that. But that's just some of the stuff that they try to do in marketing. We'll get to that in a little bit later. But it's a lot of times people, they'll say the word organic, or they'll say, no sugar has been added on raisins. Raisins are filled with sugar. they haven't added any because they got enough already, right? So, you just always want to look at the front of the package, and that's where all the marketing is. And then you look really on the back of the package, and because by law, they have to be accurate about that information. So those are the things that you want to be careful of when you're buying things. And it starts from when they're very, very small. I mean, when women are pregnant, when women are nursing, when children are being, growing up into their, their developmental years, what and how they eat affects them for a lifetime. And I really do mean for a lifetime. There are people that are in their 50s and 60s that have, in my opinion, some chronic diseases that, it's not hereditary. It was the right way that what they've eaten. And all of us, I think, are kind of in the same age range. Is there were certain things that we ate along the way that they were good, they were fast, they were easy, it was convenient. I was feeding family, I was raising my family, I was working full time. I'm not trying to be judgmental. It's just that there are some things that you can change along the way, or but if you can start it when they're very young, it's going to be just that much more beneficial and possibly change some of the genetic outcomes. When at the turn of the 1900s, when somebody died from unnatural causes, the statistics were 80% of the time it was something that from infection. They stepped in a nail, they had some sort of gangrene, they had something would happen to them. But at the turn of the second millennium, 80% of people who died from unnatural causes was from chronic disease. So it was from diabetes, it was from high blood pressure, it was from cancer, and they've proven, and it's documented, that those types of diseases how and what you eat can change that. So that is something that I think is very pertinent. And that's, like I said, that's documented. It's not just me saying it, it is documented. And I think that, that to me, and a lot of it is the fact that you want to buy food that doesn't already have chemicals in it. When I say that the food has chemicals in it already, I just a brief touching a base on what they do if it's not an organic seed, or they've genetically modified it, is that they actually change the seed. Many times they actually put pesticides into the seed so that as it is growing, is that it it's got the pesticide, which is great. Bugs can't get on it. You don't have a lot of the growing issues that you might have otherwise. But if a little bug grows on it and zap goes, because of the fact, well, that happens. You put that food in your body, and it's first of all, your body doesn't recognize this. Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. Is that you eat a carrot, you eat a lettuce, you eat something that is just conventionally grown, that is not organic. Mm-hmm. Again, I can't say, basically, I'm just going like kind of on black and white extremes, but is that when you go to eat it, your body doesn't recognize it. If your body doesn't recognize it, it means it can't process it. If your body can't recognize it, it means that it can't absorb the nutritional elements that your body needs from that lettuce or carrot or potato. I'm not saying absolutely every single one, but I'm just saying the majority of them, because they grow. The purpose of a lot of industrial farmers is not to grow for nutritional basis, it's to grow to market, so that they can get it to market, for it to look good, so that it can sell fast, that it can be done, and there's, in theory, there's nothing absolutely wrong with it. Unfortunately, from a health perspective, it leaves us just kind of empty of what we can actually eat, what's good for us. So anyway, I'm trying to get back on course here. So anyway, there are I always have to look at environmental working group, which is a very good work. It's a third party kind of a review group. They're just a monitoring. They're not affiliated, at this time, with any type of specific business company or anything like that. But every year they put out what they call the Dirty Dozen. Have you ever heard that term? Mm-hmm. And so this is effective this year. Excuse me, the Dirty Dozen. And what the Dirty Dozen means is that if you can, buy these 12 items organically, just even if you just start with one of these on here, okay? And the reason for it is because these particular, products, based on their research, have the most pesticides sprayed on them. Can you see them okay? I'll read them out just quickly so everybody can see it quickly. But again, this changes a little bit every year, but like I said, it's pretty consistent. It's raisins, strawberries, spinach, kale, nectarines, apples, grapes, peaches, cherries, pears, tomatoes, and celery. And those are, and again, they're a lot of them can be washed, a few of them can be peeled. But the thing about it is that what is happening is that if you're not getting organic, especially with celery, because that's such a high water content, is that what happens is the synthetic chemicals that they use for pesticides and herbicides actually get drawn into the cellular walls. So when you're eating them, you're also eating that. And that's pretty consistent with all of these. The next one that we have is the Clean 15. So it's not all gloom and doom. These are, if you buy these in a conventional manner, conventionally grown, you should be pretty okay. And I'll go over these two. It's avocados, sweet corn, pineapple, onions, papaya, sweet peas, eggplant, asparagus, cauliflower, cantaloupe, broccoli, mushrooms, cabbage, honeydew melon, and kiwi. I guess my distance learning glasses are working. But anyway, so just kind of, like I said, it's not all doom and gloom. This is, helps. And I would say just start slowly. If you haven't been buying things organic or growing things organic, you don't want to just go to the store the first week and buy the same 2 weeks of groceries. Because what you might have gone to the other, those onions or that celery or whatever it is that one might have lasted 2 weeks now won't. So you wanted to start by just starting. I always like to say just start by introducing one ingredient, one at a time, just so that it starts to become natural. And seeing if that can start to work for you, because like I said, if you do have to buy a little bit differently. When you are buying produce, these are the two things that you have to look at. The number on the Chiquita banana, the 4011, is called PLU. That stands for price lookup. That's what they put into the computer to find out how much what the weight is. That is a 4-digit. That 4-digit means that it's a conventionally grown bananas. Right below it, you see a lemon, and it has 5 digits with the 9 in front. That's an indication that it's an organically grown produce. So when you are buying produce, that's something just to look at it. And I'm not saying it's by any means the fault or intention of the produce department, but somebody could have picked up a pack, and you're picking this up, and it's under organic bananas, and then 10 minutes beforehand, somebody couldn't find the organic bananas, so they picked up some regular ones. When they found them, they just put them down. It's just sometimes they could be misplaced. So that's just, I like to make people aware that I've never seen it, but when they made this change, there's also if it was a genetically modified product, there's supposed to be an 8 in front of it. But I've never seen it. Again, it was a voluntary type of a thing. So I've never seen it. But if you see an 8, a 5 digits and 8s in front, that's an indication that it has been genetically, it's a GMO. I've never seen it. Okay, so how can you try to make this all kind of work with you or for you? Obviously, within your budget. So one of the things that's a shop at farmers markets, again, I feel like I hope I'm not being too negative, but all farmers markets does not mean it's locally organic grown. I have participated in a farmer's market that literally that same day I saw, and like I said, the same person at a distribution plant that center that I was at for my business, buying the vegetables, took them to the farmer's market, put them out, and was selling them for premium price. So you need to make sure people are that they're legit. do not buy the comment that, well, yeah, it's organic, it was grown in the ground. I've had people tell me that. And so, you're just wanting, just kind of do a little research. If something looks good, if something tastes great, and it's something you want to buy, again, I believe in the 90-10 rule. 90% of the time, I try very, very strictly to really buy it. But 10% of the time, let's face it, we've got to lighten up a little bit, you sometimes, you just have to, go out to dinner and, hope for the best, I guess. But, so just, I do support farmers markets, but make sure that they're legit. Joining a food co-op is good. I don't know if they're not as popular as they were 20 or 30 years ago, but if you can, there's a nice co-op that's being starting on Lombard. I think it's called Prairie Food. I'm part of it, but I can't remember. I was number 37 on the sign up, but it's going to be in Lombard. And there's also CSAs, which people hear about CSAs, and that stands for Consumer Supported Agriculture. And those I think are really great because they do support farmers, and that way it gives them a chance to predict what's going to happen. It's a little bit interesting what you might get in your box each week, but there's all kinds, again, my name's Ask Aunt V, so you can always call me and say, okay, I got bok choy. What do I do with bok choy? And so, but I think you'll find it's a little interesting, but also it's good to, explore sometimes. Buying in season. Can't express that enough. Let's see, oops, this is the fun part. We're gonna wait for the fun part. Yes, buying in season is, I really just can't, when blueberries are in season, buy a bunch of blueberries, freeze them, can them, store them in some manner that you can. When parsley or, your herbs are in season, I think that's one of the kind of things that a lot of people, for me, it's frustrating because I get a gazillion of them growing and then I can't use them all that fast. But what you can always do is, with any kind of herb, is you can always chop it up, not too small, but chop it up and then put it into ice cube trays, fill it with water, because water will freeze completely, oil will not, so there's a potential for botulism. Freeze it, and then after you've frozen them, put them onto a cookie tray, have them freeze individually, and then you can put them into a bag or some sort of container. And then when a recipe asks for a tablespoon of parsley, you just take one of the ice cubes out, throw it into the recipe, and the water will evaporate, but you'll have the taste and the nutritional profile. And they will nutritionally and taste-wise stick. They will not maintain their texture. So you wouldn't want to use them in a fresh. But it's, like I said, it's something that you can use them for. You can, there's a variety of different ways that you can preserve them. Shopping around. A lot of times, people always ask me, where do you shop? Like I just go to one place and they've got everything I want. No, I do shop around. I know there's some places that have the best, the freshest lettuce. I know there's places that have really great fruit. I know there's different, so there, just different areas. The other thing is to make sure, if you can, whenever possible, to make sure that it's grown in the United States, if you can, and just because we have certain standards for organic that other countries do not, with the exception of the EU. The EU has better standards than we. Goodness, I wish we did. I gotta see people shaking their heads. They have, people will say, well, you got that from Italy. How do you know? I was like, because they wouldn't even think of putting that in the ground. Olive oils and things like that. They don't have to be organic because they've never ever seen the light of day of pesticides or chemicals. So there's just a lot of things, that are grown in different parts of the country or the world that is just that knowledge, so that so you're getting the quality. And a lot of times you can get certain things that are better than you expected at a very, very reasonable price. Okay, the next one, because I kind of let it out of the bag, is that's basically about, really, like I said, I don't want to be like on my soapbox things, but understanding the importance of organic growing. Did anybody have any questions? Is there any comments? Everybody's okay with? Okay. All right, you guys are a compliant group. That's it. Like I said, I've stressed it, I think, enough, but from your own personal benefit, for the benefit of what you're cooking and what you're preparing, and then also just from an environmental perspective, and for the future of our children and grandchildren. it really makes a huge difference. All right, so the next part, like I said, is wines. Wine is one thing that a lot of people don't think about, but or a lot of our alcoholic beverages, and wine happens to be one, and beer is beer because the barley and malts that are used aren't quite as effective, but organic, getting organic wine is important for the environment again and for you. But you just want to be careful of, it's not only how it's grown, but also this is where this is the scene I want outside of my house someday. But it doesn't have a lot of the sulfites. It doesn't have a lot of preservatives. It doesn't have a lot of the just the additives to it. Unfortunately, you do have to really look on the back. You can always look at the labels, because it can be organically grown grapes, but they might still make some additives as far as in maltic acid and caramel and things like that. So they still get the opportunity to advertise them as organic grapes, but they're kind of, again, fudging it. They do that a lot with the marketing. The EU, again, the other thing is that they will only certify organic farmers and growers that follow all the correct rules, so that they don't add those additives. In fact, my husband was stationed in Germany, and he said that they had strict standards that, they could have been in a vineyard for, 20 decades, not 20 decades, 20 centuries for that matter. But is the end, but if they found out that they were putting even a drop of sugar in their wine, they were out of there. So I mean, they're very strict standards. And I'm not that much of a wine drinker, but I do find it interesting. The other thing that I encourage people to do, again, just going with the environment, because this affects your growing too, is the use of pesticides on your yard. When you spray, remember what I was saying earlier, how you can't say it's 100%, even you can't have a garden here that's organic and a lawn here that you're spraying pesticides on. It's just, to me, they put this warning sign up, and it happens all throughout my neighborhood, that nobody can step on it for fear of whatever. What doesn't that dawn on anybody that that's a good idea? I don't know. The reason for it is you want organic lawn care. You want to make sure there isn't any glyphosate in there. Glyphosate is what is in many ways killing the bees. It's many ways when it gets into your body, it's very harmful to humans. It's one of the problems that we're having a lot with wheat and with gluten-free issues, is because of the glyphosate that has been applied to the wheat. Our body, it makes us intolerant. And when it rains, it goes into our water systems. And this is what bothers me the most, this particular one, is in most cases, they're saying it's farms, but a lot of the cities and the individual the residents cause this. This is the plume on the south side of, not the south side, at the end of the Mississippi. The yellow is from the, is the red, is the danger zone. The blue plume is where the fish can no longer, the vegetation and everything is being destroyed. And it's just that much. I mean, this is 7 miles out that we're having issues. Wow. So that's a lot for no dandelions. So anyway, and it's getting worse and it's getting worse. But like I said, it doesn't, I could see a beautiful meadow here with a lot of beneficial flowers and plants and things like that. But I know different people have different preferences. So, so for me, eating fresh vegetables, eating fresh organic blueberries, blueberries or fruits, and then also just with the flowers, I also I do only grow organic flowers, and just the difference in the smell of them, and just the difference in how much longer they, the varieties and things like that, I find to be absolutely fascinating. So that is basically, like I said, without question, I thought there'd be questions along the way. So again, I'm Veronica, that's where the V of Ask Aunt V comes from. I do cooking classes, and I also do organic classes. And we have Veterans Victory Farm, and that is a farm that is, we're part of the Farmer Veteran Coalition, which has to be 50% veteran owned. And what we do is include in our workforce veterans who have PTSD and traumatic brain injuries, and young men and women who have hidden disabilities. And we build community gardens all throughout the Chicagoland area so that they are able to, particularly in food deserts, and then we give it back to the community and work with them, teaching them how to cook and grow and things like that. So it's part of what we do. So yes.
I think,
Question,
yeah,
yay.
I think the reason you're not getting questions is you're almost preaching to the choir. Most of us
Okay.
are
Already there.
hearing what you said and thinking about pollinators. We've learned that some of our favorite marigolds are not native. So of course, Mr. B says, I'm not stopping here at this marigold. You mean nothing to me. So it's real easy for us now to realize we're like the bees. There's certain things that, yeah, we may have ate it, but it doesn't do us any good. And we've all had our experiences with the neighbor who has too many pesticides in the yard. So yeah, like I said, that's probably why you're not getting questions, is because we're going, yep, I agree with you.
Okay, well, that's good. It's always good to get a good nod or two. That's it. Yes, Ron.
Where do you do your cooking classes?
In downtown Naperville, I inside Lee and Brooks, right by the Riverwalk. It's a cabinet design showroom, and they design beautiful kitchens and by day, and I get to cook them by night. So it's very, very nice. But yes, it's right downtown. And right now, there's a little bit of construction going down if you head that way, so just be prepared. But it is lovely. But part of that discussion is, you're right, it's the bee, it's everything about it, is that they have these patterns and they just, like I said, we think that we can just do whatever we want and create it. Like, what was one of the things somebody was telling me about growing hibiscus, and and we have to take it inside. They're like, oh, no, there's gonna be a day that we can just grow them outside. It's like, good luck with that one. But anyway, so, well, then, yes.
So what
Go ahead.
so what are some of your organic flowers that you grow?
We have probably right now about 50 different ones. We grow, I try to get varieties that are unique. We're like, that I'm trying to think, because I've got this long list of, from, they're still pretty traditional, don't get me wrong. We have like borage, I'd say both ways, but we do have marigolds that we're growing that are local. We have the Johnny Jump Ups, we've got narcissus, we've got the sunflower vines, zinnias, because I think they're fabulous and they're so darn easy. And then we do, I use okra a lot. I do it for cooking, but I love the okra flower because it's from the hibiscus family and it's so gorgeous. I'd be better.
Where do you buy the seeds?
I get them from seed saver organizations throughout the country, but we do sell seedlings. So that's something we do that supports the farm, the veteran farm. So we do have them. The Downers Grove, I don't know if it's the first or the second weekend in May yet, Saturday, but we will have 400 of our different varieties there.
Where?
At the Downers Grove Garden Club is hosting a sale. Or if you ever wanted to do for a sale, just let me know. And
I was just gonna say, the second Saturday of May is ours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we need to talk about that.
No, you can't just let me
We can
know,
bring
because-
things in.
No, definitely, we can. Definitely, we have organic, I have organic flowers. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones because I just put in such a, one of them that is very, very popular is we have sweet peas. And sweet peas, a lot of people say are impossible to grow in Illinois. They're wrong. But, yes, in fact, I have one variety that I would give anything, to tame a little bit, bee balm. We have about, like I said, about 50 different varieties that we have. Like I said, I'd be happy to.
Oh, yes, we would be very interested.
And then we also have seedlings that we'll have for, vegetables as well. We'll have, I think we have like 20 or 30 different varieties of peppers and tomatoes and some squash. Again, the thing about it that, as you all well know, they don't preach to the choir, and I agree with you, that's for sure, is a lot of people will start growing way too early.
Yeah.
And that's, so with mine, people will be like, well, you know, because I'm interested in root growth. Because once you put them into the soil, it goes, starts growing just like you want it to. The other thing about it is that people put their plants into the ground when the air is warm enough, not the soil.
Yeah.
That's always a big problem. That's a big issue. And then when you have, so like I said, I'm looking for, mine are in organic, started in organic soil, in organic, peat pots, and all you have to do is just transfer them, so there's at least a bit of root damage. But anyway, I will be having on my site, it's not on there yet, but askantv.com is my website, try to make it easy. And I will be having a complete list of the different ones that are going to be available.
Oh, great.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you for asking. And you had a question?
Yeah, I had a question. So then this summer I was hoping to try out doing gardening in straw bales. But then I had some concern about, well, what if the bales are treated with pesticide or something like that? So I didn't know if you had any recommendations of where I could locally source paper straw bales that were not treated by any sort of pesticides or herbicides or anything.
You're not gonna like my answer. Don't grow in straw bales, grow in soil. Soil feeds the roots and roots feed your plant. And as far as fruits, there are some available. They're not, I haven't found one real local, but you need the microbiome. That first 6 inches of soil, look at that, 6 inches. 6 inches of soil is so, the fungi and there's so many elements of your soil that are so important to proper root growth. And again, I'm saying root, but when it's root, that means you're going to have the rest come up too. They're so essential. I have seen some people who have some good success with it, but you're never going to have the nutritional input that you're going to have. So, have you probably Googled for? No.
Why I bought a book on it about how to do it and how to break it down. So then eventually at the end of the season, you have like it creates its own compost. You're treating it with like blood meal or something like that. So that you have nitrogen source. So it's like creating your own compost.
Have you ever worked with Google culture?
Pardon?
Google.
Oh, I haven't. That's with the wood, right?
Well, actually, it's similar. It doesn't have to be wood, but you make a mound, and then you have soil included, and that does basically a similar thing. But that had, but I guess what I don't want to say throws me off, but keeps me from wanting to do the soil bale, even though there seems to be a lot of, they make a good argument for it, is the fact that again, you're not getting that microbiome. And you are getting that with Google culture. Those are your, just Google culture, just a second, is that you have, what you do is you grow it, and then like if you have logs or something like that, you can put them underneath it, and then as they decompose, it enriches the soil, so it's almost like a form of composting and growing at the same time. So if I do find a source, I'll make sure and let you know. I mean, because organic straw is good for just your, as a topsoil.
That too, and I wondered like, well, I wouldn't want to put straw on like, if you're putting on the land or whatever, if that is treated with pesticide, you're trying to be organic.
I know, and I have not found it, I haven't, but so, I mean, it's just, if I do, I'll be happy to share it with you. There are some that come from Wisconsin that we get from some of our gardens in the city, but I don't do that directly with them, so I will see if I can get their names for you and get back to you. But and you'll just have to give us an update, I guess. I'm glad you're growing your own food. That's the first thing, right? Did you have a question still?
I do. Do you sell at farmers markets, and do you have a farm around nearby?
The first thing is, no, I don't. I sell at farmers markets. I did that one year, and everybody here has permission to knock me in the head if I ever stand up. It's just that the amount of work that it was for the, and again, unfortunately, that was the experience I told you about that I actually
Saw someone bring in.
I just saw there was just such, I almost feel it's larceny, just because that's how strongly I feel about it. But just okay, you're all growers, okay? First week in June, okay, and actually it was the last week in May into the first week in June. I go to someone, and I was just being friendly, going to people's, market site. Everything that they had said when I, agreed to was that everybody had to grow their own food, everything. They were very, very strict in there. And I go to this person who says organically grown, local, blah, 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 blah. Remember, last week in May, just sweet corn, tomatoes, peppers, and you know, all these things. And I thought to myself, and again, just, you know, in a very friendly, I said, do you have a greenhouse? How do you have these growing right now? She's like, oh no, we get these shipped in from Georgia. So, you know, it was like,
So much for local.
yeah, so I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying there aren't real people out there, but just be careful. And there are always, you know, you just have to hunt them down. No, I don't sell at farmers markets, just because of the fact that in association with the other things that I'm doing, it just doesn't work. It's, because I have been doing that with a school. I beg your pardon?
How can we buy your food?
Oh, well, but you can, like I said, at Naperville, I do have some days that I have them available. And then, and I hate to use my website as it, but I do post on website, I post on Facebook and Instagram and all the, you know, I'll say, the, you know, peppers are in, the tomatoes are in, the shishito, and, you know, so when they come to market.
And where are you?
I'm right downtown Naperville.
Your farm?
Oh, no, that's where I would be selling it from. That would be like, if I had it, that's where I would be
Oh, okay.
providing it from.
And where
My
is your-
farm, I have 26 acres, you know, it depends, 26 acres all throughout the south, and it's not mine. I wish I had a farm, especially growing up where, you know, you had a farm. But, and like I said, my grandfather's farm, but, we have 26 acres all through the south and west side of Chicago, you know, filtered in through different neighborhoods all the way to Batavia. So we have different markets everywhere. Like I said, we try to focus primarily on the food deserts that we have, with the, so, you know, that's what we, you know, really tried to focus on. So that's why the numbers shift sometimes. We also work with houses of worship all throughout the Chicago area of all denominations, they have a lot of land.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so we have different people. I wish I had the wisdom to do this. I have joined up with them because they're just wonderful people. But they are, they actually have taught the churches into say, give us some of your land. We'll turn it into organic garden. So we've done that. We've done the 5-year process of getting it certified. And this, and I just love this, is what we do is we grow and we cut it, you know, we pick it that morning, and then we will take it to food pantries and to soup kitchens. And so they get the first and best, not what's left over.
Good,
You
good.
saw the change in a person's smiling in their heart and their dignity when that happens. The next year was first, so even though I'm pointing that direction, yes.
Okay, I wanted to ask questions about, if we're only able to garden in container, like raised beds, is that completely off your radar, or is that?
No, I mean, there's certain conditions. I do work with a lot of people, like I said, with our veterans, we have a lot of people who have, development as well as physical limitations, and you just have to make a conscious effort to create a microbiome. I mean, you have to be adding things. You have to be, you know, earthworm and earthworm. I do know how to talk properly. Sorry, get kind of excited. And earthworm is not going to live naturally in a raised bed, you know, a very highly raised bed. And they're not going to go up 3 feet. We have with a lot of our people that are handicapped, we have raised beds that are up, you know, so that they can get under with their wheelchair. We grow different things. We grow things, you know, but we're constantly recreating. We're putting earthworm castings in, we're putting earthworms in, knowing that they will run away at night. But you know, we're working it, but we do it intentionally. But you can't treat a raised bed in the same manner as you would, you know, that's this up high. Even a raised bed that's maybe 10 inches high is straight in the ground. They're all different categories.
Would you rotate the crop in the raised bed then?
Well, the thing about with that is you are probably, I would certainly hope that you're reconstituting new soil, the whole. So in that case, it's a little different story because you are creating an entirely different environment. I'm referring to actually in the ground.
Okay, and now my other question is, which is probably totally against the way you're talking. But
I don't mean to be a meanie, no.
This is, I just need to have an answer or a thought process with it. the hydroponic gardening and, you know, being able to do, you know, do what you think you should be doing to make it nutritional.
My experience with hydroponic gardening and I don't do hydroponic gardening, you were correct on that, is, first of all, it does a lot of damage to the roots with the water, you know, constantly being in the water. That's not the way most, there's some, like, well, there's some things that you can grow in that manner and it grows well. Watercress is one of them. And watercress is so good for you because it draws toxics out of your system. But, the most of the growing units, they don't have, the blocks are not organic. So you can't, and then the last thing is that everyone that I have seen that they use for the nutrients has been synthetic based at some point. I've yet to see an 100% organic hydroponic system. And so you're correct with my feelings on hydroponic is with water. Aquaponic is where they have the fish. On that one, my concern is the ammonia levels. Is that right? Ammonia levels. I think I said that right. Ammonia levels, because they have to be monitored. And there's, you know, so there's just so many things. So I'm hopeful, I think, for feeding the masses with greens. I'm okay with being open-minded about greens, but when people start telling me that they're going to grow everything, if you've ever tasted anything that's hydroponic, it doesn't taste like the same. It really, and when we do tests, you know, we regularly do tests. We'll take an organic, we'll take a conventional from the store, and we'll take hydroponic. They don't test for the minerals, the enzyme. They just don't test with having the same nutrient values. So, sorry, it's twice I feel bad. But this gentleman back had his hand up.
Yeah, sometimes we have trouble with tomatoes where it's like a black rot on the bottom of the tomato. Is there an organic way to do that other than adding?
The late blight?
Yeah, calcium or whatever.
Calcium's like, the calcium doesn't mean it's not, you know, organic. It's
Oh,
just
really?
you want to make sure that you're getting something, the one that is calcium, that it does have, I mean, and you just want to make sure that it's compliant with what the growing conditions. You can get calcium derived from many different areas. So just make sure that it's, you know, that its biodiversity is appropriate for where you're growing. But you can get organically based. The one thing you always want to look for, I don't have it on here, but it's called OMRI. It stands for Organic Materials Research Institute, OMRI. From your soils to everything that you have, it will, if they again are an independent third party, research institute, that they'll research the products and test them and make sure. And they have people that, you know, to become a certified organic farmer, you have to go through 3 to 5 years of rigorous testing. I mean, rigorous testing, unannounced testing, you know, and so your soil, your water, everything you have is being constantly tested. So, you know, but then when you see the benefits of it, I myself don't, you know, haven't had to use that, even though I had light blight once year, and that is just so annoying. After all that time and hard work to suddenly have the tomato going, you know, that they say that you can still eat it, but I never have. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it would be that good. But do the research. There's a place I haven't gotten anything from them. Gosh, now I'm not going to make sure I have the right name for it. There are organic. There's one in Indiana that it has a good mail order rather, and but you know, there's some very reputable companies out there that have very good quality. So, but do look for the OMRI. That should be marked on the bag or when you get it, and then you can do it with complete confidence.
And what I was going to say was, obviously, in the perfect world, we would be like what you're saying as far as organic, we have all the pure, whatever. Then we come back to reality and we have the neighbor who has pesticides that he waves everywhere. So you can't necessarily move your house or your yard, you're stuck with him. And then you go keep going down the road to, all I ever do is get the cheapest produce I can find. So if you recognize that conventional is not necessarily the best, but your budget allows you to go a little further, or you have a little time, then you can start growing. It's not, I think our whole point is it's not overnight that you're making this change, but you recognize, just like if you're, if it was up to the kids, it would be sugar cereal and chocolate milk. But we as adults know better.
Yes.
So we're trying to
Right.
step away from that.
Right. And just to do it gradually, you're very right about that, is to do it, bit by bit, as your budget allows. If you could grow, if you could even just grow, in a small little, someone mentioned containers,
Mhm.
mentioned, and I was looking at. Okay. Growing is that, even if you have to grow a pot, and if it's a ceramic pot and it doesn't leach and things like that, you can grow lettuce. You can grow microgreens. Every 8 days you can have a new crop of microgreens. There's things that you can do that are small, that are gradual, that aren't inconvenient.
Yeah.
But you can, but I know for me, we could grow in high tunnels and low tunnels, and high tunnels and low tunnels are what a lot of people call hoop houses.
Mhm.
And so we grow, a high tunnel will, it's the equivalent of growing 500 miles south. Okay, so if you put a low tunnel into a high tunnel, so if you just have a high tunnel to extend your season, you're going in equivalent of Tennessee. If you put a low tunnel inside a high tunnel, you're going on the Gulf, basically.
Wow.
Okay, that's just a guesstimate, but think about it. So you think, well, that's pretty good. But for they lose 10% of your sunlight for every layer. Okay, and like I said, we just have 2 layers. In addition to the fact that you've got the winter sun at a different angle. So at about January, I'm tired of crawling into that tunnel. I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to the store. And I have to say, it's always a little bit of a surprise to see what is available, even though I'm kind of keeping my eye on it, but I don't have to buy it, And so, yeah, it is. You have to make, adjustments. And we live in the Midwest. We live in Chicago. There are things that we have to, but if you can, when you choose to grow, to grow following some of these principles, you're just going to enhance and improve your own health, but also just for the environment, like you said, with the pesticides. If you buy a house, make sure you don't live downhill.
Yeah, really.
It's just different things that you can find, but it's a challenge. I agree with you on that. And then one of the things too, is if you do have it, it does work. It's not perfect, but it does work. Is that if you have, there's certain plants that you can grow along your lot line that are purifiers.
Yeah.
So that instead of growing all the way to your lot line, is give yourself maybe 5 or 6 feet, maybe a little bit, place for rainwater, and you'll be able to grow things and create that environment.
Okay.
Some will be sacrificed, but that's okay.
Okay,
Okay, yes.
let's do one final question. Yep.
So, if let's say you move into some place where you don't have any history on the soil that's there, and you want to grow organic, certainly you can put in topsoil, but you're still going to have some leaching, even though leaching mostly goes down, but some will still come up into that new soil. So how long does it take before you can actually feel like this is really organic? Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And quickly, we can go into great detail about this, but again, it usually takes about 5-6 years. You can put some sort of a barrier, just a good barrier cardboard is going to be helpful. In some of your places, because I would assume that most of us would be growing in an environment that it's pretty, but in the city, we've had situations where I've had to work with people that we had no idea what had been there. There might have been a power cut, a lot of things. So we actually had to put a cap on it. So that was a different thing, but I don't think you'd ever be in that situation. And then you can be confident that, what you're growing up, but then you do lose the advantages of the microbiome, but still you have to recreate.
Mhm.
So I think that Ron has
Reminded us.
It's time to stop sharing. But is again, my name is Ask Aunt B for a reason. If you ever have any questions, if you ever want to stop by. I am not at the store, the showroom, like I said, I share the space with the showroom, so I'm there at night and they're there during the day. So if you were going to stop by, you're always welcome to stop in, but if you want to meet with me, just let me know and I'll be happy to meet with you. But like I said, everything's Ask Anthony as far as Facebook, Instagram, Gmail, my website. And so if you ever have any kind of a question or, and that's where I'll be posting, the Swiss charts, and different things. And if you would like to contact me, but I would need to start growing by the first week in April for most things, but just let me know. I'd be happy to share.
Thank you
All right, and
again.
thank you. Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Was it helpful or informative in any way?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, good. Like I said, didn't mean to be,
We got off to a rough start with the sound, but
yeah.
You
once we
recovered
got
well?
that sound, well, yeah,
all right.
you never know.
Yes, that's the one there. Volume button this time.
All right.
What'll be next one?
Okay. Bobby, are we gonna do
Cake.
cake?
Yeah.
Do you want to do that? And I'll wrap up with her. and-
Okay. You might get us our
Thank you for starting the question.
Oh, my
I was
pleasure.
ready to start this, yeah.
Yeah, no, I recognize, listen,
Well, that is good, that is good.
yeah, we've learned.
Okay, I want to make sure I give you the power cord.
Oh, thank you, I would have forgotten that. No, that's okay. I didn't think it would bother me. I thought it was, anyway, we figured it out.
It depends when spring is. Meaning if we get an early spring, we go sooner,
Okay.
but it'll probably be the last part of April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I was thinking. Because I know I wasn't able to go out, so.
Yeah, you'll be safe.
Okay, good.
Hopefully you'll be back on your feet by the end of the month.
Well, he said he wants me to have my swing thing. And he's also got a shirt. Oh, yeah, I don't know what it is. It's horrible.
Yeah,
And I
it
said,
doesn't sound like fun.
It's not, and if this shoulder doesn't like,
Wow, that's a lot.
inside they have this contraction.
Mm.
So I'm like, well, I don't know, because you've got to take it out of there, and, I might not be able to dig on the ground, but I can do everything else.
Yeah, I can wipe a pot.
Yeah, I can wipe a pot, my left hand will work, Thank you so much. Yes, that was really great, I appreciate it. I don't think about those days anymore, but everybody thinks I should celebrate. Thank you.
Oh, I'd like to make an announcement. Today is Jan's birthday.
God.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jan. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, everyone, I appreciate it. I'm gonna take a picture of my, I gotta blow the candle.
And then you can put the picture.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, everyone, that's very nice. I appreciate it.
And there's cake.
And then we have the big cake.
The Judy cake.
Judy cake.
And John, you please hide it.
Yeah, John's unofficial, but he's a member.
We didn't realize we were.
So my mother-in-law.
Does anybody throw Iris?
Iris.
I tried, but I'm-
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah, I was just gonna say, show Sarah. You, go ahead. Irises are wonderful.
They've been around for a while.
A little bit, but not very much.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, whichever one you can use. Lovely pictures.
Well, that's actually, I know one year we were running. Planning a garden.
There you go.
Yes, thank you. You're right.
I'm gonna get it anyway, so. The wife can be in, but never mind you.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. The one moment, I'll tell you.
I got you a good day.
I think either one or both. If you need them.
All right, thank you very much. Nice to have met you.
Thank you, likewise.
Take care.
Would you like a piece of cake to go? You're missing it, you're missing it. Yo, that, I don't want to tell her that.
There you go.
Thank you.
I don't mind. I don't remember that.
Commercial?
The cake looks very good. I bet he'll come over and grab some.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, yeah.
Number one.
Yeah, that doesn't make it, that, yeah. But anyway, it's, it's still, don't let him take, we won't discuss it while he's enjoying his cake.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Let him enjoy his cake. I did it first.
But anyway, did I hear you say that he's a housing?
Some people do, I know, I grow up.
Yeah.
I love sweet potato. Beautiful, most no, I don't. I grow.
Sarah, cake?
That's what I read, like.
I just need some coffee with my cake.
No, you go ahead and take notes.
I don't think, I mean, I always do a lot of research, like decorations and something like that, or, you know, for presentations, but I don't know that I've never, I'm not that big into, you know, I'm like,
I mean, it's shelter, they think
oh, no, I wouldn't eat those for sure, I wouldn't eat those. I've never heard of it.
No,
Wasn't one?
No, I wouldn't.
It is.
I did too. They are.
For those of you online, we're gonna restart in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I like it, I'm the same.
There's people left over that's very end, you know, yeah, well.
If I buried it around, take it out of the garden. Eat them all before. My youngest member.
It's so cute. Thank you so much.
So I read, my son enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Because we have, you know, their dog down and. my grandson, he didn't have
Oh, so it has started, yeah.
Oh.
And so he said, but you're gonna have to keep her here for a while, because they're looking for, they're gonna back. And I said, that's right. You know, and they all get along. You know, and the one I had 1 year old, she. So now, we're gonna be just literally now. We've got everything, so much stuff in there for them. You know, it's like a playpen. And we had a rig up somewhere to one gate that's. Get in there. Yeah. So we had to put a gate up. Well, she's not gonna be small much. They talk about raised.
The thing about raised beds,
The
like,
mom,
was about 50 pounds. And she,
I think sometimes it's never gonna be enough to like.
she, the actually, mom was adopted from the baby. And it came red. Which, yeah. And,
So then it.
we got better.
Beverly?
We got better.
That just changed real quick.
Well, no. Because- And we were like, it was my girls
Okay, everybody, we're gonna start up in about a minute, so.
That's her name.
What happened to the,
Oh.
really?
Oh, yeah. That was why would you have two other from your baby on? All of a sudden now, there's too much trouble. We said she was only a little, then we find out she's 3 years old. I'm like, no, I don't want to know. I want to.
Was your full answer?
Full answer. So we
Then you know.
Right. And then we found another, then we decided, no, we're just doing things that our husband. Because there's so many.
No.
Yeah, we just. She's used to
Yeah, I
having
feel
this
her.
because her husband, she was.
Yeah, so I can share this.
We had a yellow lab that
In
was.
fact, one of my
It's got a little white spot right here. She's. And she's all lady.
Inside the cooler, here, see? Inside the cooler, she's fresh. Oh, no, trash it on the door.
She's not like a crazy dog.
Yeah.
She's got a real sweet personality. She, my husband.
Get that?
Yeah.
So she likes, she's got pulling her tail, grab her tail.
All right. So everybody, we're gonna start up and we're gonna take our 5-minute gardener. And we're gonna let John and Judy tell us about what's going on in their life. So if they want to come up to the front table so we can all see you.
I've been a member since 2000.
Whoa.
I think
How is it well?
if Marianne was here, she would be.
She's on.
Yeah, she's on phone.
She would be the only other person who's been here longer than me.
Wow.
Wow.
I've held every position except garden walks and president. And I've gotten all the gardening out of our system because we're moving. Well, we're selling our house and buying a fifth wheel and hitting the road. Selling everything we own. So I had to get the gardening out of my system. I think after 20 years. And Mike, nah, I won't. I'll have a silk plant.
Yeah. I think you'll
Next
have
house.
a container pot with some tomatoes.
Judy,
No.
is that link you sent me? It didn't come across. Is that link you sent me up on YouTube that I can just query it?
Oh, yeah.
If I go to YouTube, what would I look?
Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Just say you were planning to travel. So here we are, 2002.
Is there a name for it?
No, I live proper.
Oh.
2002.
Forest River.
Family all over the country?
Or, I'm sorry.
No, my son's here.
Where are you going first?
Depends
Here.
on, supposedly, we ordered this fifth wheel a week and a half ago. And they said it's gonna be ready in May. That's really true, and we are no longer living in a house, we're heading out east. Because he wants to visit.
There he is,
Ben
that one?
and Jerry's.
Yeah.
That's the first thing he wants to do, he wants to see the ice cream graveyard. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's
ones that
where they
didn't make it?
bury the flavors that didn't make it.
Graveyard. So where's that at? Where are we?
That'll do it.
Vermont. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Here's
labor, because they had a concept.
Gotta return the speakers back up.
Right,
Yes.
right. So if we get out during good weather, because we're not going.
No, no problem.
My goal was to not be anywhere below 70 degrees.
There you go.
I've had enough of Chicago. Even as a child, I was born and raised here, and even as a child, I hated winter. While everybody was out, you know, ice skating, I was at home glittering as glue. That was me. No, I hate cold.
All the
weather.
time. I gotta put my speakers
Too
back
much
up
stuff
here.
on the ground. We gotta get rid of all that before we go.
On that, okay. Good.
Probably word. Are you still in real estate?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
And I was just gonna say, if you decide down the road that traveling is not for you, you can always come back. We will always be glad to be your home away from home.
This is what we just.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you guys. You guys talking?
Do you want to custom it? That's what you want inside?
Oh, that's good.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
good. Yeah, good stories.
It's your basement.
Yeah.
And how big is it?
Now I gotta get a stuffed dog for the leash back.
I don't want a real one either.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Oh, my God.
Look at that.
Look at that kitchen.
That's the reason that I bought this one.
That's not the right one?
That's not the right
It's
one.
not the right
Well,
one.
let's put it this way, you don't even.
That's not the right one.
No.
That's not the right trailer.
Oh, it's not the trailer. It's
Not the right one?
trailer.
Oh, no, it's not.
All right.
As soon as I saw where the kitchen was, I knew it wasn't the right one.
What do we got?
Yeah, I suppose.
388 RK2.
Arcade 2, 388 Arcade 2. Okay, there
That's
we
the
go.
one you're gonna buy.
All right, that's a 388 Arcade 2. Okay, there we go.
We always say, oh, I want to go back there. There was so much more to see. The best kept secret in the United States is Utah. Oh my God, it's gorgeous.
I'm gonna show you the Cedar
This
Creek
is,
That's
This
where
is
it's
the right
at.
one.
We're the wrong trailer.
yeah.
388 RK2.
42 feet.
42 people. Yeah, I was gonna ask you how big it was.
Yes.
42. Wow.
How many?
42 feet.
Thank goodness for that big truck.
There's the basement.
Yeah. Storage.
It has-
have a CDL license to drive it?
No, it has central air, there's central vacuum to it.
Really?
Yeah. It runs on propane, electric, battery, or solar.
That's nice.
It has it all.
Go to California, get plenty of sun.
Oh, nice. That's nice. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Agree, that is a nicer setup for kitchen.
Oh, I like it.
So there's no one can come and visit you, huh? If they catch you, should go by.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, your way. Nice. That's
Yeah.
nice.
This is all Amish made.
Isn't it?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's Indiana, right?
Yeah, it's all Amish made, the cabinets.
They make the trailer themselves.
It's a light.
Up there in Indiana.
Okay.
We did two.
Yeah.
But it's got a full-size microwave with a convection. It's got a full-size oven. I have
The
to
colors
get
you
it.
want? Is that a gas oven? Propane.
Yes.
Is that a
And I
pantry?
can't.
Yes. Oh, my God.
There's an outlet back there, so if you want to keep our coffee maker.
Does it have built-in Wi-Fi? What the size of the refrigerator?
Yeah.
Real refrigerator.
It's a real refrigerator with an ice maker.
Get out of here.
I like that.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep learning.
Judy, have you been campers all your life?
We had a pop-up.
Okay.
When my son was little, we did, that's all we did.
You come a long way.
Yeah. The
I
pop-up is
don't know. I
$6.
didn't get that either.
No, that's very nice.
We have
Nice.
a desk, so we can, you can go work on it.
Right. You can browse.
For puzzles.
Yeah. Dennis would approve.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a TV.
Looks like it's next to a window to you.
Yeah, but what would she do with the one they drive down the road?
Bathroom. Oh, that's nice.
Filter on the bottom, and then put some filter on the top of the dust.
We're gonna get a washer and dryer.
That's nice.
This is a half bathroom. There's no bathroom.
Oh, my gosh.
No
Is it
waiting.
hers?
What?
Is it hers?
Yes, absolutely.
You get that one, you get the other bigger one, right?
Oh, this is
Oh, my
nice.
gosh.
Nice king size.
We don't give kings bed at home.
We'll learn how to get good choice. Yeah.
Those are 2 more cheers.
That's where John's gonna put Judy.
Yeah.
Underneath, yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool, right?
TV, which we have a TV in our bedroom, we don't use, so there'll be another here.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Nice.
Judy's bathroom.
Two sinks.
So you're gonna have to have a water pipe there, or you just go to the
This is literally a walk-in closet.
Oh, my gosh.
There's the boost for your Wi-Fi signal. And then John got a, what is it? What else did you have put on the roof for
Satellite dish?
satellite dish? Yeah.
What is that?
That's the vanity. 2 sinks.
Very nice. Now there's your controls.
Yeah.
That's why you should make it college. It's like the furniture and all that, it's all like a standard.
We have a picture of a fireplace, or actually it's 5,000.
Exactly.
As far as.
Nice.
Those look like they're fine.
Amazing.
Very nice.
And then the couch.
We're both gonna have.
Yeah, just go back. Yeah, just point forward.
And
Yes.
the long trailer.
Yes.
It'll be
The
a-
certain things you put, yeah, and the whole thing goes. My brother.
So we see all the pool rooms. When we go back and go down.
I don't know now that stuff in our house is so.
I got everything.
Yeah.
So are you gonna have a
I
state
do
set?
that for my grandkids.
Are you gonna
Yeah,
have
I
a
like
state
that
set?
as far as I made a
I've
book
got to
called
do something.
Grandma's
about
Life.
stuff.
Yeah.
And my
Makes one
son
of my
is
grandkids
coming
have
over,
school.
and I just told him
We-
Sunday.
Judy and I
Tuesday,
gone
I
to-
want that,
My
and,
grandfather was-
you know, so they get what they want.
And
That's a wonderful thing. What you're doing is just like a pipe dream.
We have to do it now.
Yes.
After we get to the point we can't do it, anymore, then maybe we'll have traveled enough to find some place.
I knew it. I was-
And find it.
Yeah. Right, yeah, but still, yeah.
And-
I can imagine that. Longer to clean my bathroom.
All right. Well, Judy, thank you and
For sharing.
for sharing, and John, thank you. Thank you guys both for all your service to the Garden Club. Certainly appreciate it. Stay in touch.
Yeah.
As long as you're still here, you're still welcome here.
Right, exactly.
Even a drive-through, you can come right around the back here.
I suppose we're active on Facebook, so
Keep in touch.
Sandra, if you want to see me on Facebook.
I retired last October.
All righty.
I just had literally retired. Good for you. Last Friday.
Wow.
My first official
Yeah.
act.
You gotta get.
Throwing out all your scrubs.
Yeah.
All my scrubs
Yeah.
throwing out.
Plus
Never
years.
gonna wear those.
Yay.
Retired.
It's not something. And yesterday I officially became 65. So it was like, I'm really old now.
All right. Well, thanks again. Thanks for sharing that. That's a little extended 5-minute garden. but,
Close enough.
That's pretty neat. So best of luck.
I want to say,
Yes.
Bolingbrook, the boys are going downstate. Basketball.
Oh, yeah.
So they play tomorrow, so after tomorrow,
All right, we'll keep our fingers crossed for them. All right, anybody else have any unfinished business from last time? Sarah?
This is along your lines. I have more aloe plants than I have space for in my house. So if anybody would like some, there's some in the blue bin.
All right, thank you, Sarah. All righty. Well, it was an interesting presentation, and again, thank you guys for sharing, and wish you best of luck. Okay, we're going to start off some of our committee reports here with our treasurer's report. Dennis, I see you're still there. Are you with us?
I'm here.
Okay, let me get the treasurer's report up here. Okay. Dennis, we don't have a video for you, but we got your audio.
Yeah, it's okay. The checking account number 1, there's.
Volume, please.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. Let me bring up the volume. All right.
Yeah. Okay, I'll turn mine up too.
Oh, there he
okay.
is.
Is that better?
Much better. Yes.
Yeah, I had to switch back to the main speakers.
All right. Anyway, greetings from Florida. Another few weeks from today, we'll be heading home. But anyway,
Swimming?
the reserve account remains the same as reported last month. On our regular checking account, the entries you see for Square is all pre-sale on the plant sale. And through the end of February, we had $814.01 that has been sold pre-sale. And then a little while ago, I checked to see where we're at on that from the 1st of March until about 2 hours ago. And we've added $1,829 to that, what you see there. So pre-sale so far, $2,643.09. Wow. I think that's good. We had expense last month. Well, we don't show it because our presenter did not cash the check yet. It was for $150. And then I think I have one more check that Mary Ann has that needs to be cashed. So the bottom line is with both accounts, we have $8,836.02.
Right.
If you have paid Bill the money for dues and you wrote a check, I'll be taking care of that within the first few days of April. I think we're going to return about the 3rd of April, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll get with Bill. I'll get those checks in the bank right away. So that's where we stand.
All right, thanks, Dennis. Anybody have any questions on the treasurer's report? If not, can I get a motion to approve it?
A motion to approve.
A second.
Okay, that was Bill Reimer and Jan. Okay.
Yep.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, treasurer's report is approved. All right, let's move on now to the minutes from last month. I sent those out today. I'm just going to scroll through them here for those that didn't have a chance to read them.
And I must apologize. There's a man with the RV, and I didn't have a picture of your husband. So as he scrolls down, you'll see something similar.
I've never seen added a cute.
And I didn't know he was going to be here.
That's okay.
And Maricine, I think you got the information you needed about the flower show, right? That I sent you?
Yes.
Okay,
yes, you did.
great. And we'll have other reports here on the civic activities and plant sale.
Yes, yes, and your.
Designated.
Yours is just much better than that. But you just so good.
It's like the one we rented.
We did rent one like that.
All
We
right.
just decided not to get one.
Okay, anybody have any questions on, or questions or corrections on the minutes from last month? If not, can I get a motion to approve them? From somebody?
I make motion to approve them.
I saw Cindy made the motion and seconded by Pam. Okay, all right. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved for February. All right, now let's see. Next topic, we don't have any new members here beyond Trish. And Trish, are you going to be are you officially a new member?
Not officially, but I will be within the next week or so.
Oh, and welcome. We're glad to have you here. And we'll get you on the distribution list for next meeting then, from all the mailing stuff. Okay, I'm going to count the John and Judy intro and farewell as our other member thing to learn about our members. So we won't do that tonight. Unless somebody else, anybody else want to say something about themselves? We'll.
You keep looking at us.
Who? Marcia? Okay.
My name is Marcia Morris, and I've lived in Bolingbrook since 1995. And I worked 40 years in the nuclear power industry, retiring in March of 2018. I'm married and I have one son.
And she's our garden walk lady.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Marcia. All righty. Next, let's have an update on the plant sale from Linda and Annalisa. So Linda?
Let's see, I have my notes here. Ron checked the computer for me. As of this afternoon, he looked at the totals of sales so far, and of plants sold, or ordered, I should say, we are now up to $2,961. And for those of you who are slightly mercenary, that's probably around $1,400 to $1,500 in profit. That's with markup and stuff. So we're off to a good start. And what's really nice is, I'd say maybe half the names we recognize from being past customers. There's a whole bunch of new folk who are signing up. So that's really nice. We're very appreciative. And then the best news of all, this past week, we got the official word from the Village of Bolingbrook. Yes. We are approved. We will have the stage. So for the sake of calendars, we will take possession of the stage Tuesday, May 10th, and we will be there every day in some sense until Sunday, May 15th. That's cleanup, basically. But as we get closer to those dates, we'll talk about what we're doing and whatever. But anytime you have available in that week, we'll be busy. And then our next plant sale meeting is Sunday, March 27th at 7 o'clock via Zoom. And I think that's all the things we talked about that I was going to say. But Annalise has been doing some homework, and she, rather than take what she tells me and interpret it, we were going to put her on the spot.
So I said that I would help out with some of the educational materials. So then I work at the Morton Arboretum, so I actually brought some of the pamphlets that, this is not the full stack, but just so you can see them. So then as far as like teaching people about gardening, there's a nice pamphlet about butterflies and plants that attract butterflies, and a large list of that. And then a bunch of things about different wildflower plants and across the different seasons. And on the backside, it gives a brief description. And then I actually contacted the Conservation Foundation, if you remember, was it maybe a couple months back, Jim from the
Mhm.
Conservation Foundation had come and talked to us, and he had mentioned about the rain barrels thing, so then I called him up to say, oh, we'd like to include them in our plant sale, and as it turns out, Will County is already having a rain barrel pickup the same day as our plant sale at Village Hall. But those are all pre-sales, so then the rain barrel specialist there had suggested, well, if you wanted to, since they're relatively close, that they'd be willing to let us take a few barrels, and then, if we're not able to sell them, then we can just return them back to the Conservation Foundation. So I thought that was nice. So then the base cost of each of those barrels is $64.50 plus tax. So then she had suggested maybe selling them for $70 or so. So then hopefully some of the traffic of the people picking up the barrels will also come to the plant sale.
Nice.
That's kind of nice. And then, if people are like, I want another, rain barrel, well, then they can come and see us and maybe purchase one of those. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
But
But
I figured nothing ventured, everything gained. I mean, it should work out.
yeah, I can pass this around if you want to take a look at some of the materials, because they had given us a pamphlet on rain barrels and the benefits of using them, and also a pamphlet about their conservation at home program, which Jim had talked about too, so that we could share that with people at the information desk.
Excellent.
Great. Good. And these are, how big are the rain barrels?
I think it's 55 gallon.
Sounds good. And did they also, you said in your email, they had composters
Yeah,
also?
like on the website that we already had.
Well, we had one that we sold that was a
Retrofit?
refurbished one.
Yeah.
But if you have, if you want, we can, and we have information and pictures, we could add those to the website and let people, pre-order them as well.
I was thinking that too, but especially for the rain barrel, if we put it up there on the site, then they can pick it up on that Friday too.
Yeah.
Because then they had said that we can pick up the barrels anytime that we could. They're also having plant sale that weekend. So it's a big weekend for plants.
And if we sell more than 5, then we can.
We'll work it out.
All right. Well, thank you for doing that.
Thank you again.
Okay.
Last name, Brooke?
Yep.
Right. All right. Next, we're going to have an update from Mary Ann on civic and scholarship. So, Mary Ann.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We've got the scholarship going. We decided last meeting that we were going to have the Bolingbrook High School committee choose our recipient. And they did send me their form that the students have to fill out that was due on March 2nd. So they are going to meet on around the 25th of March. There's a committee with the different teachers and from the school. They form a committee and they choose the students to who's going to get the scholarship. And it turns out the 4-page thing that kids have to fill out is more involved than anything we could have ever thought of. And they do have to write a 500-word essay. So, and I also asked them to stress an importance about volunteerism, since that's what we do with the garden club. But there is a whole thing that they have to fill out about volunteering also on there. So I'm very pleased with that. So we'll find out probably after the 25th who our recipient is going to be. And then in April on 19th, there's going to be an annual scholarship recognition night that we will attend at 6 p.m. to give out the scholarship. So that's pretty much taken care of. We just have to wait now. And the second thing that I have to talk about is that was the scholarship was half of my civic budget. So the second half, I was thinking, my idea was to give the money to the Morton Arboretum for their centennial celebration, and they're building a grand garden. And I received a lot of material, and I think Ron has some he might be able to show you the renderings of what they're going to have. But it's gonna be spectacular with separate gardens with different flowering trees in each garden, all different flowers and plants, water features, a central area like for gathering, different walkways, And they still need about $1 million to fulfill their budget. And they're also going to have like a foundation to take care of the gardens from then on too. So I figured it would be a nice idea if we gave a gift to them of the other part of our budget, the $500. So I would like if we could have a vote on it, if everybody would agree with me, unless somebody else has another idea where we could spend our money. I think that would be a good idea.
Does anybody have any questions about the thing? Or Annalisa, since you worked there, any comments that you could make about it?
I think the grand opening is going to be this September, if I remember correctly. I mean, if you go there now, you can see that there's a lot of stuff that's under construction. Like there's a big fountain over by, in front of where the library building is. So that's a fun one. We have some videos online about, with aerial drone footage of, being built out.
So it's gonna be all done by September?
If I remember correctly, I'm not directly involved with any of that planning stuff, but from what I remember in the different forums, that they talked about that. Yeah, it should be beautiful.
All right.
Okay. I received some information. I thought it was gonna be completed next year.
No, this is actually the centennial year, so then they're founded in 1922 with Joy Morton Salt Company.
All right. Okay, so
So we need a motion.
we need a motion to approve the spending of the rest of the civic budget, the $500 for donating to the Morton Arboretum's Centennial Center.
I'll
So
make a motion.
Dan and Patty seconded that. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion.
Thank you.
is approved.
Thank you.
So,
In the next meeting, I'll bring the renderings that were sent to me from the Arboretum, so you can see in more detail what's going to be in that garden. It really looks like something special. So,
Good,
and I'm
good.
hoping too that perhaps because we are donors, that they will invite us to the ceremony or some sort of thing, have a special thing for donors. So I put that little bug in their ear, so we'll see.
all right. Mary Ann,
Can't hurt.
make sure you let Dennis know what check you need and who to go to and all that
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't think there's any rush. We can wait till he gets home, but
Sounds good.
Great.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing that. So,
Okay.
so you've spent all your money now.
Yes, I have. So we're good.
She's unemployed.
All righty. Let's have an update from Bill Reimer on membership.
Membership, we are pretty much all paid up. Appreciate people getting that in. Like I said in my email, once we get all these checks, there's forms that we have to fill out so that we can get it all to the Illinois Garden Club. And they want to know who are members, who's left as members, who have left, and da. So once I can get all this in and know who's going to be, then I'll fill out the forms and get them to Ron, and he can pass it from there. So good, we're sitting good now.
How many are there?
So far.
Yeah.
I don't have the actual figure. We've lost, what did Ron and I talk about? We lost 5, I think. But it sounds like 2 or 3 new ones have come in. So until I get everything together.
Okay, I was just curious, yeah.
Me too.
Cool.
Me too.
It's these people who have to move out of town.
Yeah.
No. Okay. All right. And for those that haven't paid, remember, we're trying to do payments in cash and checks. So we've avoided some of our service fees.
But we will take your money either
We
way.
will take your money, but if you can give Bill a check, that's a preferred way to get it.
Yes.
Okay. And so our membership drive, I think, officially ends the 1st of April. I think that's the date. And that's actually when your membership, I was reading the details in there. That's actually when the membership goes.
Starts.
April 1st through the following year. So that's always been a little confusing. But
Yes.
okay. Topics from the floor. Anybody else have any items they'd like to bring up? New topics? Okay, there is, we had a couple of nice things that were sent in. Becky sent me this about from the Conservation at Home folks, nice package on their system, some nice videos in there. That'll be included in the follow-up notes from tonight. That extra email, I'll be sending that out next week. It'll have the edited video of tonight's presentation, the business meeting. All of those will be online. You just have to I just have to edit them and upload them. Okay, for our next meeting, everybody, I don't know if everybody knows what Earth Hour is, but if you read it, it's kind of focusing on trying to be conservative and conserve our energy, make a statement. This is sponsored by the World Wildlife Fund, and it basically says in your local time on March 26th at whatever from 8:30 to 9:30 local time across the world. If you see it from a satellite, you'd see parts of the world go dark because it's turn out your light. Don't do things that do anything with electricity. Turn off your lights. Have a game night. Turn on some candles. Just do something.
Be on my computer.
It can be on battery, but you can't have the internet. I know you'll suffer. But it's a nice idea. I thought it was interesting, and go to the Earth Hour website if you want to get some more information. But it was kind of an interesting program.
It isn't, in years past, they show like the Eiffel Tower going dark and all around the world. It's fun to watch everything darken down.
What are you watching on?
Yeah.
Are you on your TV?
It's afterward.
Okay. And I have seen the videos of that's why I mentioned the satellites. You actually do see segments of the world darken down. You won't see it all go black, but definitely darken down, which is kind of interesting.
What's the purpose of
Focus on conservation, focus on our impact on the environment. Kind of making a statement together of saying together we can do something.
All those poor birds.
Yep.
They'll be able to see.
Okay. You can see certainly as they put here, see the stars. Look at the night sky. Okay. Let's see. Any other topics that we have? Otherwise.
I saw robins today.
Yay!
A whole tree full of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Snowing. Trying, yeah.
I saw a whole flock of whooping cranes by Jewel and Weber. Today. I was going to my car.
Whooping
Way
cranes?
up there. There was like hundreds of them. Did you think of that?
Wow.
Yeah, all the time.
Wait a minute. Whooping cranes or sandhill cranes?
I don't.
Sandhill.
Sandhills.
Yes.
Sandhills,
Yes.
yeah, the big one, the tall one. I don't know, the ones that way up.
That was
that
definitely a
fly.
hello from Deb.
Did anybody see the yellow cardinal? The picture of the yellow cardinal?
No.
If you look for it on the internet.
It's on Facebook.
Yes, it was on Facebook. They said there's something like 15 million cardinals on the East Coast right now, of the whole East Coast. There's probably 10 of this genetic mutation of a yellow cardinal. And it's really neat to see. I've never seen it. So,
It's like
yeah, it's kind of like an albino gene. It's just a,
But it's
it's a mutation, but very rare. So it's interesting. Okay.
I have a comment. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mary Ann.
Do you remember the program we had from the Owl Center?
Yeah.
Okay, that owl died. He went blind in his other eye and they had to put him down. So it was kind of sad. But also on that website from the International Owl Center in Minnesota, they also posted on their website, they have a contest where kids of different age groups to draw owls. And they have they pick from each age category winners. And they're actually beautiful. It's beautiful artwork. It's not just kid drawings. And they did sponsor when the war started against Ukraine, kids that have drawn owls from Russia and the Ukraine. And she had a real beautiful little paragraph there about about that. It's really well done. So if you want to look at her website, it was really moving, and the pictures are fabulous. So
What's your website again?
the International Owl Center in Minnesota.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Houston, Minnesota. Yeah. Because we really enjoyed that presentation. And, she has that owl. That's been her mascot. He was already blind in one eye. And that's why he was, he had to be rehabilitated. And then he went blind in his other eye, and they had to put him down. It was really sad.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, that's it.
Okay. All right. And in your thing, just a reminder, I had this in the meeting notes from last time, additional interest. This will be before our next meeting. The Illinois Audubon Society will turn 125 years old on April 10th. I think Patty sent me this. And if you want to look at some of their information, that's the link to it. And again, Garden Glories is online. So that's there. All right. Can we get a motion to adjourn the meeting for tonight? We actually are on time. It's 9 o'clock.
One last thing,
Nope.
if you're gonna order any
Oh,
kind
yes.
of annuals, do it before Sunday, because we have to shut down the prepaid or annuals ordering.
Yep.
Ted wants the money, or rather Ted wants the order, so he knows what to spend up for us.
Yes, and that will hopefully avoid some of the problems we had last year of ordering after their guaranteed date and then not getting the delivery from the growers because they couldn't grow them in time for us. So this is guaranteed delivery that they're granting us. And then we will have, you want to explain a little bit about how the excess stuff is going to work?
What we're hoping is between our gal tonight, who obviously has plants that we should be interested in, as well as Ted's, black and blue salvia, some of the other things that aren't up there, we'll add that to it. So because we're having an in-person sale, we will have some things there for the quote unquote impulse buyer, but we won't have a lot because anyone who knows annuals, vegetables are forgiving, herbs are forgiving, but annual flowers do not like to sit around and not get planted. So we aren't going to have a lot of those left, or order extra, I should say. So we'll have some, but we aren't going to be a big box store. We'll just call it that.
Right.
Okay, so you said you wanted them to place an order.
Yes, you need to have the cutoff for deadline for anybody who's purchasing prepaid annuals is Sunday at 5 o'clock. So have it in before then.
And you might have seen it for those that ordered, you might have seen a new payment option that we turned up called Afterpay. It's kind of one of those, how you see on TV, it says, buy this, set of knives and you can get it in 4 payments of $29.95. Afterpay lets you do that kind of service. We get paid up front. Afterpay does all of the managing of the 4 payments. Square bought them last year for like $21 billion and they're integrated into their system. So now we have that offering. Jan used it, said it works good. We'll have that up until their introductory period passes, where their fees then go up to 6%.
But right now it's free.
But right now it doesn't cost us any more than our normal cards like it. So kind of neat service. Okay, motion to adjourn the meeting.
I motion.
Bobby makes the motion. Rochelle makes the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Yes, we're on schedule.
And we have extra cake, right, Bobby?
What?
We have cake to distribute for anybody that needs cake.
Yeah.
Mary Ann, do you need any cake?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
We can drop it off. She's like, oh, you're muted. We can't hear
You're
you.
muted, Mary Ann.
She's laughing at the idea.
Bill wants cake.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can Bill have
okay.
cake? We'll drop off pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, I just have the grunge, so you don't want to get close to me.
Oh, no, we'll do it tomorrow.
We'll do it tomorrow then.
All right, yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And he's young too.
Can I get your name?